Welcome back to gameplay from the first European RLE. We have Declan Savage playing Shigaraki 1 on Death, and we've got Connor Chilton playing Fourth Kind on Order. Joining me today we've got Michael Murray. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks. I love the long pause when you're reading down that Shigaraki was on Death, despite there being a massive skull on the screen.
I don't know what it is, but like in my head I get Death and Evil mixed up.
That should be easy enough to deal with, like, going forward. It's not like they're changing all the symbols.
So what do you think of the matchup coming ahead?
So it's quite an interesting one on paper, right? Both Shigaraki and Fourth Kind have innate abilities that just lend themselves to throwing out like one big haymaker per turn. Shigaraki's been on the response to lose 5 life, and Fourth Kind being on that 4th card bonus. It looked pretty even. You're giving up, what, 6 health to the Fourth Kind character, but instead you're getting +1 hand size. So I feel as though I would be favouring Shigaraki here.
Well, let's tune into the gameplay and see what happens. Players have drawn up their hands. Fourth Kind is going first, and he builds a sticky balls, passing the torch, and a requesting assistance.
Pretty rough as a 5-hander, right? Like, I know it's over 50% of your opening hand, but I'd still like to see a few more foundations. I mean, could you imagine how bad that would have been if it was a 2 build?
Oh, that'd have been awful. Shigaraki builds a nervous habit, a struggling with studies, a keen observation, and I think that's a second keen observation.
It is. It looks like the action tracker missed a card there. Unfortunate, but it does happen.
4 foundations versus 3. I mean, it's not much of a difference.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. You will a pseudo 7-hander turn 1, you only manage 4 foundations with a selective mulligan.
Fourth Kind coming in with a reciprocal extends. That looks to be the fancy art for it.
Yeah, one of the promos. I'm not 100% sold on that artwork.
It's very busy.
Yeah, I think it's all the R's in the background.
Getting to draw a card off it. Nice little cantrip, and it looks like Shigaraki took some damage there.
Blocked with a showdown, so completely committed out the overhaul. Not the overhaul, the Fourth Kind player, minus the character, but he's still risking coming in. Another reciprocal, getting that 2/2 stat bonus.
Checks well enough for it. Shigaraki's on 20 already. I wonder if he will come in again with his bonus.
-4 difficulty. He could be in a situation where even if he checks a 3, he still passes next card. Yeah. The reciprocal should have been on an 8, down to a 4, so worst comes to worst, he committed overhaul.
Fourth Kind.
Yep, that's twice I've done that. Fourth Kind.
It's 11 damage though.
Showing the opponent what Fourth Kind actually does. Maybe reminding the opponent that his name is Fourth Kind.
Shigaraki down to 9 turn 2.
And that's what, it started at 26, right? So 17 damage.
I mean, it's not looking good for your pick, game 1 at least, but maybe he'll be able to bring it back with his turn here.
Looks like the momentum tracker's actually a little bit ahead of the gameplay here, as the Fourth Kind player hasn't put those cards in momentum yet. I don't see why there's any debate over this, right? We've seen him running cards that have EX, and it's not likely he's going to cycle during this game, so unless there's some other reason to put cards that attacks in his discard pile.
Some sort of secret tech. Shigaraki's just having a think, checking his discard, and comes in with a Vile Seeding. Just a nice efficient card.
No doubt both these decks are running like a playset of this card. Decent block modifier, has breaker, can come in for 6 most of the time, draws you a card.
Soft zone.
Deadlock ability's pretty sweet.
Drew a card from it and looks like he... Oh, I thought he was going to get some damage in there, but the block is pseudo omni block, so...
Looks like it's his second Veil season coming in. A little bit hard to tell with the glare at times, but luckily the card reader's on point.
It's like fourth kind checked a 6 on the check to draw cards. He's got 1 foundation left, so he can pass it if he wants.
I'm actually surprised that's not been committed already. Like, by the looks of it, he's got a low block in hand and a mid. So, assuming the Shigaraki player gives us speed again, 4th count need to rip a 6 to block.
Yeah, I mean, you may as well have it do the 2 less damage and not fuel the rest of their turn by drawing a card. Taking the first damage of the game on the 4th kind sides, 4 damage from the Veil season, and the response for 5 health. That's just such a chunk.
I mean, it's not 17 damage, but it's still pretty good. It's what, 9 damage off 1 attack though?
Yeah, and that's even without it getting the plus 2 damage.
So we've seen another foundation there on the Shigaraki player's hand. I'm wondering if he chose not to go to 6, just in case of the overhaul. I'm doing it again, the 4th kind once per game. But I feel as though at this point, his best survival tactic is build as many foundations as he could at the end of the last turn and just hope the 4th kind didn't have anything. Like, he's already so far behind in this game that you just need a bit of luck to go your way.
Like 5 foundations against 4th kind with free momentum and some EX abilities is rough to start with.
Okay, starting off with a 1 for all. He must have a couple of attacks in hand, otherwise I would have saved this for later in the turn. Make full use of that discard your hand, draw 3.
Unless he somehow has 2.
You must think he has an attack turn here, or a kill turn. He's clogging the pool with sticky balls.
Making that a little bit harder for Shigaraki to block.
Yeah, we see them drawing another card and ready him with requesting.
Wonder if he drew what he needed.
Looks like he partialed with a cheerful uppercut. So, controversially, I don't know if I'd have used the response on cheerful uppercut here. But I know normally you want to put that +1 progressive in your opponent's turn, but I think it might do more damage to the Shigaraki player here. He's already at +1 progressive due to the Veil season being there. We've just made all his blocks too harder.
Like, the likelihood of Shigaraki blocking again is low at best. I think he's already used the -1 speed, so I could be wrong.
That's why everybody should bring a set of beads with them. Get themselves right for these abilities. Yeah, there we go, we see the 4th kind player pointing it out.
Must be using that in his calculation to see if we can go from 4 to 0 during the rest of this turn.
I think at best the Shigaraki player can block 1 more attack, so quite likely. There we see an evil gaze being used for the -2 speed. And unfortunately checks a 6 on it. A bit of a wasted 6.
Would have definitely liked to see that 6 with the actual check to block. hopefully has another one on top.
Blocking on 7. Just Sod's Law, right? Rips the 3.
I've not done the math, but I'm wondering if without the -2 speed, I don't know if he'd have been able to block it anyway.
You'd have been better off not giving -2 speed and just blocking, checking the 6.
Yeah.
You'd have been left with 1 foundation up.
I mean, he's not dead yet, at least, but
It would have been a big balls play, right, to like just assume you're ripping the 6 and keeping the evil gaze for whatever comes next.
especially when if he didn't block that attack at all, he'd have been dead anyway. So, but I think that Vile season seals it for this game, very likely.
It definitely should. There's a struggling with studies there, so he can pick up the Vile season that was clogged into his pool. But between not having any other ready foundations and having the plus progressive from the cheerful uppercut, he's definitely, I think he blocks on a 7 here.
Considering his opponent still got 3 ready foundations, the extra clog, like you said, is definitely coming into.
Yeah, it was more detrimental than we see the check failed. Unfortunate, but
I guess though, if Fourth Kind had seen some worse checks, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad.
I think that's the advantage of Fourth Kind, right? Eventually one of your checks just doesn't matter.
Hopefully we see some better foundation builder from Shigaraki going first. We see a first day of class, a snack time, and a surviving the final from Shigaraki. 3 foundations. I mean, Fourth Kind managed to get the win and only 3, so maybe Shigaraki can pull it off. Comes in with a league invitation and in control. Calling for backup and a shock treatment.
Yeah, the shock treatment should easy pass because it's his 4th card.
And a Bonds of Friendship. Nice wee 5 build. I like how the minus difficulty is helpful even on your build turn.
Yeah, you're not limited to using it when you're going in for an attack, it's literally just moving out those early builds. It allows you to get away probably playing a few more free diffs than you normally would. Okay, I like this card in Shigaraki. It punishes your opponent for completely blocking it, and it means if they don't completely block it, you're getting that extra 5 burning. Also lends itself a little bit to the rebuilding your opponent's staging area and keeping your opponent's stage, we call it nowadays. And keeping the damage down.
Yeah, it makes your opponent make some tough decisions.
Even this 2 damage attack is effectively done 7 here. I think I'd be quite content doing 7, just building a few. Maybe if I could build 2 and then see where I go from there. Or if you're feeling confident, just put yourself to the 6 just now. Like, what's the odds that Fourth Kind comes in for game next turn?
I mean, Shigaraki's still 28, so probably not. I did quite like that Bonds of Friendship actually doing something with the -3 damage though.
Oh, looks like he's come in with a second full kill one. Not going to get that once per turn off, but still going to do some damage.
I guess he's just sort of thinking the first one went through without any faults, so he must not have the low block. Let's get some damage in while we can.
Not a bad plan, but I don't think Fourth Kind's a character you're going to beat by rushing him. I'd have much rather had an extra foundation than the extra 5 damage it was dealt. especially considering you're giving the 4th kind player the same dilemma next turn.
Yeah, maybe sort of pace those full cowlings out. We've got a Vile Season this time from the 4th kind side.
So, someone enhances Vile Season, checks a 5. Do you commit the 2 to stop the damage in the draw?
I think it really depends how much foundations I have. If I have like 8 or 9 plus, I'd consider it. I don't know about 4.
Hear me out, like, do you stop the draw and damage if you're intending to block it?
I guess if my opponent's shown signs of digging for cards, I'd maybe be inclined to, but...
I mean, they didn't use the column for backup, so I can only assume they've got another attack in hand.
Yeah.
Using Evil Gaze for the -2 speed now. I think I'd have been quite happy to... You -2... not -2, you commit the 2 to deny the draw and the damage from this Vile Season. Take the 4 from it and just keep whatever block I'm holding and keep the Evil Gaze for that attack that inevitably comes as the 4th card for the turn.
Yeah, it's going to be that attack that's going to pose the most threat, like that 11 damage from game 1.
We do see Shigaraki debuilding 4th kind by 2 here, thanks to the ability in the Evil Gaze, but could have probably just done that later in the turn, given they weren't completely committed out. Yeah, look, the breaker doesn't matter because 4th kind's just going to play foundations here.
Maybe they were hoping with only having 1 ready foundation, somehow 4th kind would chicken out of attacking, but...
Like, he's playing these haymakers on 4 diffs for the most part. And we see it here, like, this is coming in high. We're a prime candidate for that Vile Season.
4 high for 10.
Hopefully Shigaraki's got another high block in hand. But something tells me he might be holding a low, just in case it was an indiscriminate.
I haven't seen an indiscriminate in these games yet. I'm assuming he must be running them, right?
We've seen him check some, but we've not seen them be played. Must be looking at the rival's attack zones before deciding if he's discarding to draw 3.
Got what, 1 in hand?
Must be something useful. But otherwise, I would have pitched it for 3 new cards.
Yeah. Even if you're going to like review one of those, you're still looking deeper.
Shigaraki reviewed his other card in hand. It was the Bakugo 1/6.
Oh, the +2 low.
Reviewed it before clearing his card pool, so his discards in an incorrect order, but we won't hold it against him.
And Shigaraki plays a float combo on a 5, needs to tap 2?
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's still considering. Float combo still doing 1 damage is pretty sweet in this.
But look, the camera jumped a wee bit there, I wonder what happened. Quite like float combo in Shigaraki. This, like, if it's completely blocked, still doing 1 means you're guaranteeing a 6 damage attack. If they don't block, it's a 9 damage attack.
I'd even be tempted to. I guess he can't do it just now, but if when he has the combo, just switch the speed and damage. Like
4 high 11 effective.
4 high 11, or like you're either taking 11 or 6.
And there we go. The last card in hand was Ice Slide Tackle. I keep calling it Ice Slide Tackle. Someone will correct me at some point if I'm wrong.
I guess that makes sense to keep that at hand with all of the high Shigaraki seems to be hitting with.
other than full kill, and I don't think the Shigaraki players playing anything else that's low. Like, we've seen the Shigaraki Ultra as a mid. There's one sitting in his pool just now, but I feel that's a mid. I could be completely forgetting zones.
I can honestly not tell.
Like, recognise the card by artwork.
But like smudged artwork. Fourth Kind's down to 11. He's within kill range, but I don't imagine Shigaraki's coming in again. Not with that one foundation ready.
Oh, bud, you need to let that fail. I'm all for 1-for-1, but you can't. Don't put yourself at 6. Not when you're that committed out. Not what I would have done, but hindsight is never know what's going through the players' heads when they're sitting at a table.
Yeah, I guess he's just thinking he's not got enough foundations to block with and he needs more. But
he's put himself in range of being able to get committed out, and also committed the one card that Fourth King just couldn't commit without any special interaction. So I'm not 100% sure what's happening, but
Fourth Kind coming in with another reciprocal extend. Gonna get to draw a card from that. Looks like he also drew a card from
the calling for backup. Yeah.
I keep forgetting the name of that card.
Looks like he's maybe got enough attacks in hand. We see the Jolt and the full kill in there.
He tapped Shigaraki's board, he counts to 16.
I think the Shigaraki player must know it's coming, so I'm really surprised these once per turn minus a speed haven't been triggered.
Unless he just doesn't have the mids and but
there's no point saving them, right?
Like, if he can minus speed that and a partial block, it's better than nothing, right?
I don't know, right? So we see a self sack in the Fourth Kind's staging area. I think I would just hold off. Shigaraki player doesn't know if they're holding a reciprocal burst, which would be one of my concerns with the amount of momentum. Well, wait, I'm saying the amount of momentum. Fourth Kind's only got one momentum.
So you can what? EX2 at once?
I think it might be EX3 on that. Like, you'd get 2-2 from the kick, E from this. You get a speed.
So that one's definitely not blockable. You blocked that reciprocal with the evil gaze.
Yeah, breaker 1. I think I would have just chosen to take the damage and kept the E -2 speed as a surprise out of hand.
Shigaraki, I think he's got one card? No? Does he have any cards left? I can't actually see his hand.
Must still have cards left. I think his hand's just slightly off camera here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
2.
Looks like a low and a high. I think I was excited by blood, and another copy of that Bakugo 1/6.
So it looks like he was prepared to block in all zones, just that once per game is really hurt.
None of the attacks were threatening lethal until this last one, so I wouldn't have bothered blocking.
Could have partialed that in a 5, taken 6.
Well, he would have took 5 from the reciprocal, 5 from the Jolt, which would have left him on 6. This would have been in for 4-11. Evil Gaze would have made it 2-11, and then blocking with Excited for Blood, you'd be blocking on a 4, if I'm remembering the block mod correctly.
It's either a +2 or a +3 high, I think.
Well, I think it's a 4 since I was blocking on a 7. That was a rough game.
I've not seen many Fourth Kind games, to be honest, though can definitely see the appeal. So going on to our stat screen, we can first of all see that Fourth Kind built a few more foundations in Shigaraki, but both players realistically didn't build that many in 2 games.
Yeah, it's hard to think that like both of them were just into deadlock between 2 games though. I know the Shigaraki player had rough builds in both his openings, and Fourth Kind at least has the advantage of being able to build as they go.
I guess with Fourth Kind you kind of get to a point where your foundations are just the middle of what you're doing, so you're not really paying much attention to it. But I'd have liked to see more foundations from the Shigaraki side.
I'd have liked to have seen more attacks from the Shigaraki side, maybe like how it's going to a game 3. Looking back on both these games, I feel as though they're tarnished by that one overhanging like elephant in the room, you know, the Shigaraki's rough opening builds. Almost half the amount of attacks that the Fourth Kind player came in with.
I think if we had the luxury of playing more attacks, maybe had a 5 build to start with, the game could have went a bit different. We could have seen some more damage swings. From the attacks that he threw, like, Fourth Kind only blocked 2 of them.
I think both those blocks as well were ice slide tackles.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of high attacks in the format, so it definitely seems a solid block.
I think it's good in Fourth Kind because it's covering 2 of your zones and you can pick it back up.
Yeah, pick it back up, attack with it, makes it quite versatile.
The enhances have a good spread. I feel as though the game was that quick that I couldn't even tell you where 23 enhances came from the Fourth Kind side.
I feel like a lot of it must have been from attacks. I didn't really see either players really use their foundations much.
I think there's a few odd things with like all 3 attacks got self-sacrifice used on them in that last turn, and using like requesting assistance to ready the passing the torch, but responses wise that's exactly what I was expecting. We've got Shigaraki at 10 and Fourth Kind at 3. Only one of the Fourth Kind responses would have been his response to pick an attack back up. Instead of the time he blocked, they had to commit Fourth Kind on the block.
I can't even think what the other 2 responses would have been.
It's a response to on the block the high. So that's been his responses there. 1 has been from the character and 2 have been from that block. Cards committed for checks is round about the same. And attacks checked is identical. That's quite...
It's interesting for it to be both the same. I guess with the Vile seasons that adds some attacks checked potentially, but
I feel as though the Fourth Kind player doesn't care as much as well when the attacks are checked. We've got more wiggle room for checking an attack not to actually impact their game plan.
Yeah, as long as it's not on the block. Both of their attacks being 6 for their fast attack is interesting. Like Fourth Kind probably could have made his faster if he wanted, but like for the most part Shigaraki's attacks are quite slow.
Shigaraki's faster attack being 6 must have just been the float combo base stats. I'm sure that comes in for a 6-4.
Yeah, I think you're right. I feel like the greatest damage is a little bit of a misconception. So as much as Shigaraki's greatest damage was 6, technically it was 11.
I think it's actually 9.
9?
Because the only time he connected with a Vile season into his response, the Fourth Kind player committed foundations not to give it a +2.
Ah, shame.
But the greatest damage he could easily output would have been 11. Just like we've seen the Fourth Kind chucking 2 different 11 damage attacks over the course of the game.
Like that +4 damage just makes 11 so easy.
Additional cards is a bit telling. Like Fourth Kind players seen 8 additional cards, only 1 of which came from his ability to pick up a block again. It was just a lot of the reciprocal extends and calling for backups and passing the torch.
I wonder if that's something he's sort of thought about building the deck, but being a 5-hander. He wants that additional card filtering, card drawing, that sort of thing.
Everybody wants to play 5-handles that don't really play with 5-handles, right? So if you can just build an attack package that says almost every single one of my attacks say draw a card, you're gonna do it.
I mean, speaking from experience, it's pretty good.
Shigaraki player only managed to draw 3 additional cards. That would have been 2 from Vital Seasons, and I believe 1 came from struggling with studies, picking up a block again.
It's a shame we didn't get more sort of card draw opportunities. I think, did Fourth Kind deny him one once? I can't remember.
Yeah, the 4th kind player stopped one of the Vital Seasons from drawing, but I think that's fair game because Shigaraki also stopped one of the 4th kind players. We have the character abilities used. Weirdly, the Shigaraki player only triggered the abilities 4 times. I believe this was 3 for the damage, or the life loss ability, and 1 for the block ability.
I guess with the block ability, it's quite hard if you've only got 3 or 4 foundations to really make that committal into the extra resource committed.
And for 4th kind we've got 7, but this is us also counting his passive here. So when you subtract the passive from that number, it's only 2. He used the once per game enhance once, and the response commit pick up a block once.
I guess with the static text, what else do you really need?
Yeah, exactly, it just does the job, right? And then finishing off, we've got a hands per character with 13 and 4.
Was totally not a addition because we couldn't think of anything else.
It's probably one of the few times that 4th kind's going to ever be beaten in this statistic.
In older cards we've got ties, but I don't know anyone else that's got more than 4. I mean, though most of Shigaraki's aren't really his, but. So that was game 5 from the first European RLE. Hopefully we'll be able to get game 6 out soon and get this batch of games finished before Nationals. Fingers crossed?
I think that's incredibly unlikely, but here's hoping. Start editing RLE 2 next year.
Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you check 6s.
Bye.